Carl Jung believed that one of the greatest dangers of modern life was not suffering, but meaninglessness. And yeah, this is happening, or this has happened because we have lost connection to the symbolic, to the magical, to the luminous, to the mystery of life. And instead, we've, been taught to value measurable things like productivity, achievement, external validation to measure our lives. But that loss that we've suffered, that loss that we feel to, like I said, the mystery of life impacts us on a very deep level. And yeah, there's nothing uh sort of that's rewarded by society that really fills that need for us. So we can't fill that need with, let's say, a brand new car or a new house, and we might not even know that we have this need that we're trying to fill. We'll just feel that emptiness, and we'll look for it, like I said, maybe in material goods. Like, right, as I said, we might decide, oh, well, I feel this emptiness. Well, if I get a brand new car, I'll feel better, I'll feel satisfied. Or if, I start this new relationship, maybe that'll feel this emptiness. But the problem is they don't feel that need, because that need has a specific criteria of us believing in something greater than ourselves. And we used to have that through religion, right? Like, religion used to be a big part, and yes, religion has its problems, of course, and I'm not going to get into that. And yeah, or I should say, like, ways of practicing, or ways that religion has been used in the past has its problems. But at its core, it is kind of that connection that we're looking for, that connection to God or gods, or this great intelligence, or the universe, right? Lots of people who have rediscovered their spiritual side in the modern age do talk about it a little bit differently than how we used to talk about religion, right? And it is more about this connection to Mother Nature, or to the universe, or to a greater intelligence, or collective intelligence. Or there are so many ways, right, that you can reconnect to spirituality and sort of let yourself be in that state of wonder once in a while. And I like to call it magic. I find like magic is such a great word for it, because yeah, it is kind of magical in a sense. Magic has its sort of mystery. It's kind of like miracles, right? Like miracles. So people talk about miracles. Miracles have a mystery to them. Like, how did this happen? Right? And we're not meant, the point of the mysterious, and this seeking that we have for this mysteriousness in the world and in our lives. The point of it is not to come to any sort of answers or conclusions. It's really about just feeling it, and feeling the greater purpose of and meaning of our lives. Like, it kind of puts our lives in this greater environment, I guess, for lack of a better word, that makes it so that our lives have, yeah, like, have this additional sort of beauty to them, right? We can feel that we are part of something greater than just our little lives, and us paying our bills and driving to work in the morning and all of that stuff. So, yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of us have forgotten that, because of, like I said, we are taught to value different things, productivity, yeah, like success, just being, holding these positions in the world, having these titles. And we think that's going to bring us satisfaction and fill this part of ourselves. So yeah, we may try to look for meaning in things like relationship, for example, right? We might think, oh, well, the next one's going to be the right one. The next one will fill this emptiness inside of me. Or it can be status, right? Like, this new job or this promotion will bring me that feeling that I'm searching for. And yeah, it leaves us a lot of times very disappointed when we reach those goals, or we reach these external things and don't feel that satisfaction. And it can leave us restless as well, right? We may try to find it in other ways, through materialism, right? Through consumption, through Like there are so many ways through addiction. There are so many ways that we try to fill this deep need that we have. And yeah, I think a large part of that is meaning making because we are meaning making individuals and creatures. And we try to story our lives. We try to make our stories have meaning. And yeah, like we like to see our lives as the sort of like narrative that, if we wanted to write about a book about our lives, we could, well, I was born in, blah blah blah, and my parents were blah blah blah, and there's just, we like to see this sort of linear um thing happening in our lives, like just this continuity basically in our lives. And yeah, and I think, a big part of stories a lot of the time is meaning, right? Like, what does the story mean? What is it leading to? What is the conclusion? What is the climax of the story? What are sort of the chapters of it, right? Like, well, how does a chapter end? When does a new chapter begin, et cetera, et cetera. And so we look for meaning in our lives. And, a lot of the time, I think we try to find meaning in what we have observed or what we've been told should bring us satisfaction, fulfillment, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, we look for it outside of ourselves, first of all, but also we look for it in ways that we've observed, right? So for some people, they're what might bring them this sense of mystery and meaning and everything in their lives, this deep sense of fulfillment could be being a parent, being, having kids, raising kids, all of that. And that could be something that they truly desire. But I think some people have children, for example, have kids, start a family, get married, all that, because they think that by following the script, but by following the example of everybody around them or the example of what they were taught they should want and what will bring them fulfillment, will do that. And then they may end up disappointed and may even try to convince themselves for many years that they didn't make a mistake. And I'm not saying that, like, if you didn't want kids and you had kids, it was a mistake necessarily. I think there is so much in that can be explored and that will teach you so much about yourself. But it's more about thinking that that could fulfill you if that is not what the path has in store for you, right? What your soul came in to do, what your true self is seeking to express out in the world. And so, yeah, we often try to look outside of ourselves for, okay, well, what made that person? That person looks happy. What are they doing? And how can I like imitate that or copy that and so that I'll be happy as well, right? And like I said, you can do that through so many things in life. And I think we are geared or trained to look for things that are measurable, things that we can achieve, things, goals, right? Things that are that people will recognize us for. So, and I forget which book this was in, but I remember reading something along the lines of this gold medal uh, winner, like Olympic gold medal winner, being asked kind of like how it feels or how they felt after winning. And I think initially there was this moment of elation, like, yes, I did it. I achieved this goal, this big thing that I wanted, and I've achieved it, and I'm standing there. And then comes the next thing, right? Which is now what? And I think when we try to fill that need in ourselves with external things and with external achievement and always things that are going to be recognized by our society, by our peers, by our families, we will always end up, in a sense, slightly disappointed and kind of like on to the next thing, right? Like, what is next? What is the next thing that I can do? And in some cases, like, there is no greater achievement, right? Like, once you've won a gold medal at the Olympics, I mean, you can win another one and another one and another one. But according to society standards, that's kind of like peak performance, right? Like, that is the ultimate achievement for an athlete, for example, or for an athlete that is seeking that kind of achievement. And then, yeah, what comes after that? What then? And yeah, sometimes those can be moments that start to make everything crumble because it is easy in a sense, or it is for some people. It's never been for me, but it is easy sometimes to just be like, I'm going to pick this path and then I'm just going to work until I reach that goal. And when I reach that goal, I'll be happy. And we don't really think about what happens like after I reach that goal, right? Like, well, what's going to happen? What's the fallout afterwards? Like, what do I gear my life and my worth towards afterwards? And I feel like this is something that I realized quite young that there, like, I never had this sense that I really wanted to achieve anything in particular. And even things that I was interested in as a kid or as a younger adult, like for me, I was really into music. I still am, and I loved singing. And I took part in a choir, and then I started doing some singing competitions, and I did quite well. I even released an album at some point. But there was a part of me that right away recognized that, oh, well, what would be the ultimate goal, I suppose, for somebody pursuing this in their lives? And I suppose the ultimate goal, according to society, in this case, would be to become famous or something, or like win a Grammy, or release a best-selling, be in the top 100, or be the top 100, like in the one in the top 100 sort of thing. And all of those goals just kind of didn't appeal to me. And not only did the end part not appeal to me, but the path didn't align for me either, because it felt like I would have to I would have to overcome and struggle and push against so much of myself, of my natural self, that it didn't seem like it would feel worth it in the end. Because, and I mean, I understand that in this case there is a lot of like, I think a lot of people could relate to not really wanting to pursue that dream according to society, because you kind of see what musicians' lives can be like and how exposed they are, and how much they have to, yeah, they basically just become this brand, this self brand, where they have to fit in this particular category and please their audience and please the producers and whatever, right? Like there's just like a lot of like ickiness sort of attached to it, in my view anyway. And yeah, like being famous too, I think is sort of a curse, right? It is, you can never just be you anymore. You're like, you can never undo that, right? Once you're famous, unless, I don't know, you were to get like mega face reconstruction surgery or something and then move to a distant island somewhere where you could be alone. But, chances are when you're, it's kind of like something you're stuck with. But anyway, yeah, all of that just kind of didn't appeal to me. And I feel like I've always been drawn to wanting to look into something deeper and understand the sort of deeper meaning and purpose and story of my life. And so this is a pursuit that started happening for me quite young. And it is something that I think takes a long time, especially since we are constantly stuck in distraction in life, right? We have jobs, we have duties, we have responsibilities, we have a garbage day that we, we have recycling to take care of, we have the dishes. There are so many distractions. So it can be really hard to take that time and actually go within and try to look for that mystery and try to look for that part of ourselves that feels like we're part of something bigger than ourselves and the small world that we live in. And yeah, just even just our society and just the rules, and like, there is something greater than this, like, because this is all a construct. This is as a species, we've built these systems to, yeah, to achieve various outcomes, but it is not it's not it, right? It is not the entire, like, just if you start thinking about, and I studied philosophy, so maybe this is why this stuff started occurring to me so early on, but yeah, when you start just asking yourself very simple questions like, what is consciousness, right? Like, point at it. And I know you can take like brain scans, and based on what you're saying, doing, different parts of your mind will light up. But I think we all know, um, like some part of us knows that there's nothing that we can point to. This is consciousness. This is, no, that's it, and people can kind of take a stab at it or whatever. But like, I think we understand on a deeper level that consciousness is one of those examples that it's very mysterious. Like, where does it come from? What has consciousness, right? Do trees have consciousness? Like, some people argue that yes, like they do feel, and they have their own sort of like, through the roots and stuff, they have their own consciousness. And animals, right, too, same thing. They are maybe not conscious in the same sense that we are, but they have a certain level of intuition and presence. And but yeah, like with humans in particular, it's it goes up like to, we have just like a different consciousness. And I'm not saying better or worse, but it is different. And we have, the language and everything that we've developed, and books and studying and research. And there's like so much that we've built upon to reach the point where we're at. And still, there's certain mysteries in life that we still don't fully understand. And this is where I think we need to kind of sink our feet in if we want to reconnect with that deeper meaning. And for me, yeah, one of those things has been dreams. And I've talked about dreams a little bit in my other videos as well, but dreams is something that, or are, they're something I started working with back in 2018. So it's been almost 10 years now. And yeah, they have been, strangely enough, it wasn't a conscious thing when I started paying attention to my dreams and writing them down in 2018. It was more out of curiosity. Like, I was kind of like, oh, this is strange. Like, I'm having these dreams about, and repetitive dreams sometimes. I was dreaming about certain situations. As I mentioned, I was a singer for a brief period of my life, and I often had dreams, for example, about being on stage and singing, and I still do. And I was kind of curious about them, like, well, what does this mean? And sometimes I just wrote them down so I could tell people about them, or just kind of like reflect upon them. And the thing about dreams too, if you have if you've experienced dreams, and everybody dreams, but we don't, yeah, I think not everybody remembers them or knows how to remember them. And I might do a whole video on that at some later time. But yeah, I think without realizing it, I started reconnecting to that sort of like mystery and the kind of symbolic life um, that has no answers, and it's not meant to, right? It is just meant to bring, and like I said, I like to call it magic, just this magical aspect to your life of something that is not um concrete or material or easily, like, you can't point at it. And in the case of dreams, they yes, like there are words in dreams, but very often when I try to recall dreams, I don't remember words specifically being spoken. Like, it's and it's hard to say if there's actually, like, I feel like there is verbal exchange in my dreams. However, I hardly ever remember actual words that were said in my dreams, like actual, like I can't quote most of the time unless it's a one specific, very powerful message that I need to hear. Yeah, usually they speak more in symbols or archetypes or emotions. And sometimes, like in a dream, I'll just have this ongoing emotion through the dream as I'm going through the story. And it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. And in a sense, my dreams have become this guiding force in my life. And they have sometimes even, I feel, healed parts of myself, parts that I was ready to heal. And this is all happening in the subconscious, right? And our subconscious is so powerful and has such a big influence in our lives, and remembers so much of our lives that we, as the conscious mind, may have forgotten, or that would require certain effort to recall. But if you experience your dreams and you remember your dreams, you might have had instances where, you dream about that high school friend that you haven't even thought about in years. And all of a sudden they come up in your dreams out of nowhere. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's so and so, right? And I'm not saying in the dream you're like, oh my gosh, it's so and so. It's more like when you wake up, you're like, whoa, I haven't thought about this person in forever. And so, yeah, they've healed parts of me, but they've also often given me information. So sometimes there are certain things I'm questioning in my life or that I'm struggling with or that I'm not too sure how to tackle or handle. And then I'll have a dream and it's going to show me in a very symbolic, very metaphorical, very non-linear way. It's going to show me the answer, at least give me like very accurate, true, deep, meaningful information that my conscious mind may have had access to. And this is really for me where I can see this being almost like a spiritual practice for me at this point to record my dreams and reflect on them and think about them and yeah, sometimes dreams are kind of random. Sometimes, like, I'll be working on a project or a website or something, and then I'll just dream about me building the website. And there's nothing, I mean, maybe there is more to it, but I tend not to look at those dreams too deeply. But then there are other ones that are like these fantastic stories. And if you do start keeping track of your dreams, something you'll probably find that I found is that they become more detailed. You start remembering them a lot better. They're not just like I used to write, my dream notes were like this long, right? It was like a few sentences of what I remembered. Now, sometimes it takes me half an hour or an hour to record my dream because it's so long and typically, I want to include as many details as I can because dreams have a tendency to kind of slip away. So if you don't do that first thing in the morning and you don't like the thing I try to do is when I wake up, I sort of close my eyes and like if I know that I've just been dreaming, close my eyes, stay in bed and try to piece together as much of it as I can. And sometimes like parts do slip away from me or sometimes I can't quite grab the tail end of it and drag it back so I lose the dream. But yeah, like it's something that I've become so passionate and interested in because of how like the impact it's had on my life. And this is, to me, this is me reconnecting to meaning and meaning making and this thing that is greater than myself because I don't think dreams are random. And I also don't think, I've heard the same being said before, but nature doesn't waste energy. And so there is a reason for why we dream. There is a biological or spiritual or, nature, like creation reason for why we have dreams. And this is like part of the mystery of dreams, right? Like no one really knows maybe why exactly we dream. Like no one has that answer. Um, and you can't, you also can't predict your dreams, or I've never been able to, right? To predict that tonight I'm going to dream about my cat, like I dreamt the other day, my cat running across the street and getting hit, and then like waking up from that being like, oh my gosh, I need to go pet my cat. Um, but yeah, I think it's brought a lot of that magic and meaning back into my life and has made me a more spiritually inclined person. And this is something that had started happening a little bit before dreams, where I started opening up to that side again because I think instinctually I knew that even though I had never been a religious person or somebody who really had a particular faith, um, I feel like part of me knew that there was something more. Like I always kind of believed that there was more to life than just this, and that there was a greater intelligence that was kind of orchestrating or um yeah, just part, and that we are part of that too. And that is, I think that is the part that we are seeking connection to again, because it is part of our essence, part of who we are as beings and as consciousnesses. And so, yeah, I think dreams are a great gateway to that. Like, if you dream, and like I said, everybody does dream, but if you dream and you remember them, and if you don't, you know, the simple way that I started being able to remember my dreams, like I said, is when I did wake up and have this sense of, ooh, I've just been dreaming, I would write it down. Like I said, sometimes it was just a few sentences, sometimes a few keywords. As much as I could, I would do that. And the first year, you know, when I look back, and I may have dreamt more than this, but I look back and I recorded maybe in the whole year, I don't know, 10, 12 dreams, maybe more, but like a very small number of dreams. But now it happens, uh, I don't know, it depends. Sometimes I dream less, but I would say that I have maybe 10 very powerful dreams a month, maybe more, sometimes less. It depends on what I'm doing and what's going on in my life, but it is, you know, it is something that I pay close attention to. And certain things are the enemy of dreams, like alarm clocks. So if you always wake up to your alarm clock, there's a very strong possibility that it'll be hard for you to necessarily recall your dreams because it's so abrupt. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get up and go to work. And you're back in sort of like your reality rather than in this dream world. And then it's kind of like you lose that connection immediately. But I've thankfully had the chance over the past year, especially being unemployed, to wake up a little bit more liberally and just follow my natural rhythm. And so I do actually leave time for myself to dream because I tend to remember my dreams best in the morning, right after, like, I wake up one time, like let's say I wake up at 7 and then I sort of let myself drift back to sleep to this phase where I'm kind of like half asleep, half awake. Sometimes deeply asleep too, but and this is typically when I dream the most and when I remember my dreams the most. So, but yeah, I think that they are magical and they are mysterious and they bring this whole different aspect to my life. And like dreams is a great gateway to get back in touch with that side of yourself and that side of existence, but it's not the only way. I think things like creativity, expression, like just expressing yourself without needing to make money from it or show the world or create a social media page where you show your art. Like, you can, of course you can, but I'm just saying that, your creative expression doesn't have to be good or doesn't have to be something presentable or something that you have to show off to the world or something. Like, it can be something completely private, completely just for yourself. And actually, art is, in a sense, a great way to interact with the magic. And even if it's not your own art, like, what are you drawn to in art? Like, why are you drawn to it, right? Because a particular painting can make someone weep, right? Like, they can see it and just start crying because, like, there is this aspect behind art of the person who created it, what they were feeling, what they were connected to when they were working on this, what, you know, went through them in a sense and then like expressed itself on the canvas or on the piece of marble or whatever it happens to be, right? There is, you can witness in a sense indirectly that sense of mystery and luminousness and meaning to life through art. And it's a great place to start, honestly, to start reconnecting with that part of yourself. And you don't need to understand it. Like, that's the thing. I think we're so used to being like, okay, well, look at a painting and be like, well, I'm feeling this emotion because my father did this and that happened, and my girlfriend from 12th grade did this. And, we try to explain it and we try to explain away mystery, but that is really not the point, I think, of interacting with this aspect of life. I think it's more about wonder and letting it be a mystery and letting it just kind of open you up without a goal, without needing it to be productive or without having like anything that you can measurably value. Yeah, like it's something very, very personal and very, like it's individual to each of us. Like each of us will be attracted, like I said, to different pieces of art, to different types of music. to different even sites like like the natural art of nature, right? Like some people seek out mountaintops so they can look upon great scenery and everything. So art is everywhere, and all of that I think reconnects us to that part and that need within all of us that is asking each of us to, get back in touch with. And despite what we've been taught, despite what is valued by or seemingly valued by our society, right? It is our job to reconnect with that part and to feed it and sort of, as I said, wonder and ponder and let it expand us in this way that can't be explained and doesn't have to and shouldn't be, right? We should let it be a mystery, let it be magical, let it be something that we can't point to or clearly explain, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. Um, and all of that starts, I think, with awareness, whether it's awareness of what you're dreaming about, awareness of what is drawing you, what is drawing you in, what is drawing you in, and just letting that pull guide you towards the beautiful and the mysterious and the inexplicable, essentially. Yeah. I know this is kind of a big topic, but yeah, it's just what I was inspired to talk about today. And I think I'll leave it here and let you wonder and let you start thinking about, or start feeling, I should say, and start letting that come through you in your life. And yes, there's a very good chance I will probably do a video in the future about dreams in particular because they are that for me and they have really become so important in my life. And if you're interested, like, let me know. But otherwise, like, yeah, like I said, I probably will do one anyway. But if you're interested or you have any particular questions about dreams, to ask someone who has been in touch with dreams, like I said, for nearly a decade now, yeah, let me know and ask them in the chat or not in the chat, in the comments. And I'd be glad to answer them in a future video. But yeah, as always, thank you for listening. And if you want to, feel free to follow or like this video. And I always like to, yeah, any sort of feedback is always nice to get. But yeah, thank you very much. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.